Hi, today I want to show you how you can build super smooth and wonderful transitions and animations inside of Wized and Webflow with native features that Wized provides you. You don't need any external library like Vanilla UX or anything from GitHub or GSAP or whatever. You can do all of this dynamically and natively in Wized, so everything from the outside gets pretty much useless. And I'm going to show you today how to do this in Wized using jQuery. And for everyone now being scared of writing JavaScript, jQuery is a super simple, easy, and lightweight solution how to get the power of JavaScript to just add on that additional functionality that Wized is not providing you natively within the environment that you love and like, Wized, without having to write much code. So, as you can see, if I click on here, I have this wonderful transition where it counts up. And, some things like this may even do a big difference, right? Because if you add that extra layer of interactivity, you're going to keep your users engaged. You're going to have a more, as I would say, a more UX-first perspective, right? And the way to do that is actually pretty simple. You're just going to go to this element that you want to animate. In this case, it's this counter up. And I'm going to go to transitions, add a 400 millisecond transition, and I'm going to add a Wized attribute of Wized circle 1 because it's for the first instance here. And then I'm going to add an attribute of up. And now this is where we're going to start moving. We're going to utilize this wonderful native Webflow feature, which is fully supported by Wized for the 2D and 3D animations. So I'm going to add a move animation to move 10 pixels up. And then I'm going to add a scale animation to scale this whole thing a little bit by 1 and 1.2 times or percentage. I have no idea how that is measured. But then we're also going to add a rotate animation to just have that little side tilt. And as you can see here, we want now Wized to remove this class and add this class to create this animation using the native abilities that Webflow gave us to create this animation. And now here comes the fun. We're going to go to Wized. And when I click on here, I don't want to create a separate workflow. I don't want to create a separate action in this example. I want to just proceed with this click and get that animation going. So this is what we're going to do here. We're going to use jQuery. And jQuery is super simple. And actually, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. Okay. And let's just do this more or less visually together. We have this $sign here. Now, what this $sign does is this initializes jQuery. jQuery is sleeping on your site unless you're going to use this $sign. So we're going to tell jQuery, just please wake up. Then we're having this part here. Now this is where we're going to target the element. So we're going to add the quotes in here. This is very important. We need to add this in quotes. And then we're going to add our attribute. So in code terms, attributes are just used like with this brackets, with a square bracket. So we're going to add the square brackets and we're going to add Wized because in Webflow, we have added the attribute of Wized circle 1. So we're going to target the name of Wized first, equals, because attributes are being applied to as equals, as you can see in Webflow here, Wized equals circle 1. So we're going to do that here, Wized equals, and then other quotes. You cannot use these quotes here. You need to use another type of quotes to not get that confused. Circle 1. This is how we're going to target that element. Now we're going to close that, and this is basically jQuery targeting the element. Now we're going to do add class. This is a predefined function in jQuery because jQuery is just a wonderful library that is natively included inside of your Wized web app that allows you to add complex code functionality super easy to your Wized and Webflow project. So we're going to do .add class. This will add a class. And we're going to do the same thing that we did here, but for a class. So we will not need the square brackets, those ones right here, to add the class of up. As you can see in Webflow, if I would go to this element and add the class of up, we're going up. And if I'm going to remove the class, we're going to go down. So I'm going to do that here, and this is moving it up. Now we want to remove that. So we have the same principle here, targeting the same element, it's the same style, but just using .remove class to remove the class that we have added up here, which, funny, is up. So we need to now set a timeout. You know, I want this to disappear after a short time. I want it to move up and down. We cannot do it without this set timeout function, because otherwise it would just wouldn't just move at all, because Wized is so fast and so responsive in executing things that you're going to build with it. So we have to add like a little timeout in here. So I'm just going to use a question mark document, meaning we're going to target the whole page. This is a global variable, the document. .ready. This means we're going to look if everything on the page was fully build ready. Again, on every line, we need to call jQuery with a $sign. We're going to use document as like their function. We're going to target document itself is a little bit like the attribute in here. It is a global element that exists on our page that we have built in Webflow. We're going to do .ready. .ready is a function like .add class, but this function is looking for if the whole page was fully loaded and is ready for use. And now you can see that we're going to start a big function here, because this first bracket is closing here. So we have this thing going on in multiple lines. This is basically inside of the .ready function, so as the up is inside the add class brackets. This whole function here to remove the class is inside of the .ready function. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create this function here, and we're going to have this arrow. I don't know why, I just know that ChatGPT told me I need to add an arrow in here, and we're going to do set timeout. Now I would even assume that you could just only use the set timeout as a function, but it is always best practices to use document.ready to make sure that everything has been fully loaded on the page, especially if you use this outside of a run function that gets triggered by clicking on a button, right? This is just like a general thing I want to throw in here, so it doesn't hurt using that. Now we're going to do set timeout. Now as you can see, set timeout starts with a bracket here too. So we have another function. We have a function for .ready. This is the one ending in blue. We're going to define the set timeout in here, and then we're going to have the function in here to execute this code now while this set timeout function is working. So the way this works is I'm adding my class. Now I'm going to set the timeout. This now happens with a delay. And inside of this delay, I have my function to remove the class. And this is the same syntax. We have question mark, we have $sign. We're going to target our attribute, and then we're going to do .remove class, and we're going to remove the class of up. This is how we're going to make that work. Now, if you may ask yourself, what happens if I would just add the code under here, right? Because we saw this was working beautifully. What happens if I would do this under the set timeout function? Now, as you can see, if I count up, it will not work, because we need to use, because Wized is executing very fast, right? It is a fully reactive layer. Now, this is a great thing, but sometimes it limits us, because sometimes we don't want things to be as fast. Like we want data to populate fast, like down here. But we don't want animations to be as fast as light speed so that we don't even see them animating. So in order to prevent that, we need to use inside of the timeout function to use the benefit of this time delay that will be happening starting here and ending here to bring this down. So now if I'm going to add this remove class of up inside of here, you can see we will have that animation. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And when I count up, I will have my wonderful and reactive and smooth and just flowing animation right in here. And this is really how you're going to extend your web app, not just to be fast, scalable, and speedy, but also to be a wonderful user experience that where every little detail on that page feels like it was meant to be in there from the beginning. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.